In the country where you live, what would be the equivalent of losing Notre Dame? Hagia Sophia. That would rank right up there with Notre Dame. My username has never been so relevant. I'm happy to be here with you at this moment, after 5 years of your account. Probably the Dimsdale Dimmadome. Built by Doug Dimmadome? That's right. Doug Dimmadome, owner of the Dimsdale Dimmadome. Musunacinal, Rio de Janeiro. Oh wait, nothing was saved from the linguistics department. Nothing. Brazil and the Amazon basin have such a rich history of language, the connections between languages, the effects of isolation vs trade routes. It's a huge loss for humanity. I won't compare apples and oranges, a monument of history and culture for millions and millions of people, and the records of life and language for underrepresented millions of people, but fuck man, we have stories and poems and digital scans of Notre Dame. The Parthenon. Edit. Just to clear up some confusion, I'm referring to the Parthenon located in Athens, Greece. After all, it was the most frequently visited place in Greece during my days 2000 years ago. Edit 2. And yes, it's actually great that Nashville has a backup of the Parthenon. I could finally piss off people for eternity, but it's already on fire. Losing the dome in Cologne, or in Aachen. That would be an extreme tragedy. I've been in both and they were a true delight to my eyes. The Cathedral of Cologne survived the war with lucky light damages, considering that around it was just ruins. And if the throne of Charlemagne in Aachen would disappeared, it would be a very sad day for the European heritage and history. When my tour with the US Army was finished there, my girlfriend took me sightseeing on a sort of tearful goodbye tour. We saw the Wittenberg's Glosskirche, the cradle of the Reformation. We saw a marker that said that Charlemagne's throne was once at this site. I got to the States and was making an interstate trip while on leave en route. I saw a billboard that said, "See the world's largest prairie dog." A few miles later, a giant model prairie dog was visible from the highway. It was made of concrete. I cried, "You must look past the concrete prairie dogs and giant rocking chairs to find the USA's treasure, its land." National and state parks are some of the most amazing places, and leave you with similar feelings of wonder that Europe provides with its cultural history. OP is on the FBI watch list now. You weren't supposed to tell them. The pyramids. Flammable as fuck. I'm sure if you nuked them it would do something. Now it would be fine because it would turn to glass. Right, edit. Thanks for silver, kind friend. D. Yeah, that's how they made the Louvre. In Scotland it would be the Glasgow School of Art. Oh fuck. Oh, well at least it's getting restored. Oh wait, fuck. I live close to the art school, and that, and ABC make me sad every time I walk past. Watching Notre Dame burn last night felt exactly like watching the art school burn down last June for me. Seeing the White House on fire would be pretty terrifying. Political jokes and snark aside, the building is iconic and it houses a ton of art and archives from our country and every president. I don't think it's as important a building as Notre Dame from a historical aspect, but as far as things that are immediately identifiable with America, I can't think of any other building that symbolizes a nation like Notre Dame symbolizes France. Personally, I'd say the Statue of Liberty. Nothing we have is historic like Notre Dame, but the Sol is such an iconic landmark, and it means a lot, especially to those immigrating to America, that if it burned it would be priority number one. The White House did burn down during the War of 1812. Canada did it. Technically the Brits did it, but because I'm Canadian, fuck yeah we did. Taj Mahal. Edit. On second thought, as the replies pointed out, Taj Mahal would be more equivalent to the Eiffel Tower. The Notre Dame equivalent is probably the Golden Temple. Edit 2. There's plenty of other examples you could think of really. India has a heck of a lot of historical buildings, mostly religious. Like Jama Masjid, Varanasi Temple, or Velankani Church, etc. It would be hard to pick really. I'd say Taj Mahal would be equivalent to Eiffel Tower. According to me it would be the Golden Temple. And that's a scary thought. Fools. We have nothing worth burning down. Our Prime Minister basically lives in a cabin. and the tallest building around is a chain hotel. I feel like a wildfire right through Banff National Park could be pretty devastating. Worse if it went through the town and destroyed the Banff Springs Hotel as well. In the UK we've celebrated how the Houses of Parliament weren't blown up for over 400 years. So probably them, I reckon. Having said that, York Minster had a bad fire in 1984. Weirdly, there are experts in the restoration of burnt down cathedrals in the world, and they've now got work for the next decade. Colosseum. Sistine Chapel is also in that list. Edit. Yes, I know it's in the Vatican. I don't need countless messages to tell me. It is still significant to Italy and its history. Or St. Peter's Basilica, though technically those aren't in the same country as the Colosseum. I feel as if using Rome is just cheating. I could throw a dart at a map of Rome blindfolded and hit a beautiful building every time. We lost our Primark in Belfast about 6 months ago. Equally as upsetting for the nation apparently. My job required a call about this to another service desk. It went word for word like this. Have you had any reports about the Primark store in Belfast being on fire? Me. No. Why? Service desk. Cause I'm looking out the window and I can see it's on fire. Me. Good luck with that. Click service desk. Losing the big banana, Australia. Or the big pineapple, the big prawn would be a real loss. I'm seeing a lot of comments about how America is too new to have anything that would be as significant. But keep in mind that it's not Notre Dame's age that makes it important. It's what it means to Paris. It's iconic. It's a symbol of the city and part of their history. Are you telling me that if the Eiffel Tower, or Big Ben, or Sagrada Familia, or the Sydney Opera House, or Christ the Redeemer burned, the people of those communities wouldn't be hurt or devastated? Those landmarks are more than their age. They are iconic to the people. They represent the city. They are a cultural touchpoint that people know. So why is it so insane to think that the Washington Monument, or the Empire State Building, or the Golden Gate Bridge burning would be painful for Americans? Also, America is rife with natural landmarks as well. If the Redwood Forest, or Yosemite, or the Grand Canyon was destroyed, that would be devastating. I don't know how you'd really destroy the Grand Canyon, but whatever. Big Ben. I hear that Big Ben will explode when the Queen dies. You've got that backwards. One is inhuman, ornately decorated, and only serves to mark the passage of time. The Queen will explode when Big Ben dies. Edit. The joke was that I was describing the Queen. Sorry, I lack proper edit joke finesse. One is inhuman, ornately decorated, and only serves to mark the passage of time. I was really expecting a punchline for this, like, and the other is a giant clock. The Acropolis. There would be people killing themselves. At least the statues will be safe. Looks at British Museum. Maybe not the historic value, but as a major symbol in the country, the Twin Towers are definitely something special we lost. Momentous buildings at the heart of the country. Let alone the massive amount of lives ruined with that. I was going to say the same thing. That, and the White House being burnt down. The main difference of course was we weren't at war when 9/11 happened, and we're still feeling the impacts of 9/11, whereas the war of 1812 is just kind of forgotten about in the eyes of the American public. Korea experienced its equivalent 11 years ago. Namdaemun, the oldest wooden structure in Seoul, is one of the 8 gates in the city's fortress wall. It was completed in 1398 and originally used to greet foreign emissaries, control access to the capital city, and keep out Siberian tigers. It was designated as Korea's first national treasure in 1938. In February 2008, a fire broke out and roared out of control, destroying the structure despite the efforts of more than 360 firefighters. Many witnesses reported seeing a suspicious man shortly before the fire, and 2 disposable lighters were found where the fire was believed to have started. A man was arrested on suspicion of arson, and later confessed to spraying paint thinner on the floor of the structure, and then setting fire to it. He was upset about not being paid in full for land he had sold to developers. Namdaemun was reopened 5 years later after a $14 million restoration project, the most expensive in Korean history,